So here's the thing. We are here every week. And we took offering just a few moments ago, and we said that goes to ministries and missionaries. And we're here every week, so whenever we have an opportunity for one of our ministries or missionaries to be with us, we want to give them that opportunity. So this morning, we want to hear from Julie Robinson. And are you bringing Keith up too? No. Okay, just Julie. Would you welcome Julie to the front, and she'll tell you all about what's going on.
Maybe I should say he's up every week in front of our church. So I'm Julie Robinson, 20 years. You guys have been my partner for 10 of those 20 years, which is pretty amazing. I've been laboring in St. Louis on the college campus for over 10 years now, and it's been such a joy. It's awesome to hear about getting to be here for graduation recognition, because who you're sending or who you're celebrating is who I get to spend time with, praying and laboring for in many ways. I want to just share a few names with you, and then I'll tell you why. Bear with me, there's 14 of them. Jamal, Justin, Nick, Danielle, Aiden, Eli, Hayden, Colin, Abby, Maddie, Bethany, JD, Tyler, Keith. These names may mean nothing to you personally unless they're your name, or you're married to a Keith, or have a child or someone in your family, but these names represent those who have put their faith in Jesus this last school year. These are those who the Lord has brought from spiritual death to spiritual life. And 13 of these 14 are freshmen. Several of them have some kind of church or spiritual upbringing, who are soft to the gospel, and others, like Keith, would say, I couldn't step foot in a church because I feel like God is ashamed of me, and I'm too dirty to be welcome there. And he's been cleansed by the blood of Jesus, which is amazing. The team and I have been laboring on the campus that the gospel would continue to go forward. And it's amazing. It's happening. It's so fun and challenging and hard. Right now we are fighting for FaceTime with students because phones and social anxiety makes it very difficult to be with them and be present with them. But when the Lord moves, he moves. And it's really fun. One of these girls, out of those 14, we have the zealous, those who come to know Jesus, and it's like, how much of Jesus can I get? But then we also have some who are very disconnected from the body of believers on our campuses, and I'd ask you to pray for those. Most of them are men at this point. That's the biggest challenge, is to draw them into community. But the zealous is a sweet girl named Abby. I was showing up for Word Wednesdays a couple times this year, and I'd get in the Word with a few of the new believers, a staff girl, and an older student to get a multiple perspectives on the Word. And Abby became a Christian around December at our New Year's conference, and since then, she has been committed to memorizing the entire book of Ephesians, 5 chapters. So she mentioned it. I'm trying to memorize it. I'm like, oh, okay. I tucked that away. And 2 weeks after she mentioned it, I said, so how far are you? I'm working on chapter 4. And I said, let's hear the first 3. And on the spot, she started speaking the word of God for memory. It's amazing what the Lord is doing. He's rooting it and putting it in their hearts, and it's such a wonderful thing. And who knows what the Lord's going to do with the word that is being soaked up and stored up in her heart years from now, which is so amazing. So we are receiving high school graduates, and in so many ways we're praying and trusting that they'd get connected to good community if they're coming in believers, or connected to Jesus if they don't have a relationship already. But one of my greatest joys this last year has actually been working with those who are about to graduate college. So one of the newer endeavors that I've been doing with my work is helping equip seniors for some of the biggest transitions ahead of their life. The decade of 20s is a radical, crazy decade that is met by most of the transitions that you're going to experience in your life. Moving, marrying, having kids, fill in the blank, new cities, and most of them don't know what to expect, or what they're expecting isn't going to measure up to what's reality. And so I took a lot of time this last school year to meet with them individually and talk about what is this transition coming and how do they prepare to walk with God faithfully through them. We talked about finances, we talked about sharing their faith, we talked about the workplace, we talked about building relationships and having mentors. But the number one thing that it kept coming back to was to survive, and not just survive, but to thrive in walking with God requires a local church community. It requires a body of believers. And so we constantly kept coming back to, how do we do this well? It requires community. But with community, they also were recognizing that two things drastically change when they step off the college campus. The pace of life goes way down, and the intentionality goes way up. So any graduates who are here, remember that. The pace of life after college goes way down. And what I mean by that is the people you saw every single day, you might see once a week, once a month, once a year, 5-year reunion. It changes the pace. Or how much you've been sharing your life or engaging in conversations. It just changes because responsibilities increase, commitments increase. But intentionality also has to increase, because to see the same people or to engage in new ways takes a ton of showing up alone and being intentional oftentimes. To participate in local church might mean showing up alone at a new space and feeling fearful, but it took all the courage you had. And by God's grace, hopefully somebody's there to receive you. So I had a lot of these conversations. We had 9 graduating seniors this year. 2 of them are staying local and actually doing a book study with me this summer through Gentle and Lowly. And then the other 7 are moving away. And by God's grace, they're equipped to take the gospel and to show up in local churches and continue to walk with him for a lifetime. So that's been such a joy of mine. I absolutely loved in college being equipped to go into the workplace, which I haven't made it to. I do work, I guess, in a different place. But to show up and want to share the gospel. And unrelated, but very related to my job, is another great joy of mine. So I've become a mother over the last 2 years. I've got 2 daughters. My toddler is easier to manage when she's not present, so she's with my mother. And my 6-month-old Eden is here with us. The last time I was here, my 2-year-old was about 6 months old, which is wild. But everything the Lord has been equipping me through in college and through serving this ministry, I've got to do with other moms in the same season of life with me. And one of them has been doing a Bible study with me through the Gospel of John. We meet at 8 p.m. on Monday nights after bedtime. And we have been working through the Gospel of John. And I just want to take a second and mention a passage that stood out to us in our conversation this last week. And that's John 3, 27 through 30. And as I read this, there's 3 statements or confessions that are made in this section. And it's the reality and the confession of every Christian heart. And this is what I'm talking about with her. This is what we're praying for our students and hoping it becomes reality in my life. John the Baptist answered those questioning him. A person cannot receive one thing unless it is given to him from heaven. You yourselves bear witness with me that I am not the Christ, but I have been sent before him. The one who has the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom who stands and hears him rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. Therefore, this joy of mine is now complete. He must increase, I must decrease. Those confessions, a person cannot receive anything from heaven. I am not the Christ. He must increase, I must decrease. Is what we're taking to the campus, that students would bear witness about who Jesus is, and he would be made much of in their life. But in doing these Bible studies with these moms and having conversations with these moms, I get to take these experiences back to these college graduates and get to share with them, you get to do this too. The pace is slower, the conversations look different, but everybody longs for the gospel, longs that their heart would matter and have purpose and meaning, longs that their focus would be that he increases and I decrease. But with great joy and great life. So as you pray for the graduates today and celebrate them, please keep in mind those who are graduating across the globe. Our ministry is internationally. We're seeing thousands of new Christians graduating off the college campus and entering into workplaces and new cities and new communities all around the globe. And it's amazing. but they really need God's grace to go before them and prepare a soft landing place for them to continue to thrive. It takes a long time to see somebody mature in their faith, especially when they come to Christ as an 18-year-old. Their whole life is flipped, and they have a lot to learn. Lastly, I'm going to share that I need prayer for our team. So our team has changed a lot over the years. I think at one point in time we have 12 laborers on 4 campuses. Currently we have 5 laborers on 1.5 campuses. We're pioneering one. And we're losing our only full-time female staff this year. What that means is that 4 of these young believers and a handful of maturing believers don't have anybody present on the campus with them. And we really need the Lord to raise up female laborers for our campus team. We also need to be praying for some transitions. We got some staff transitioning to new roles. We got differences in personalities kind of coming out in those transitions. And we need the Lord to preserve our team and mature us and grow us well together. So if you could pray for our team, just if you think of CO, if you think of St. Louis, say, Lord, please unify the laborers there and raise up more of them. And that would be super helpful for us. I did bring a few new prayer cards and put them in the back that you would know how to intentionally be praying for our ministry over the summer, and a few newsletters if you would like to see pictures of these names and some of the events that we've been doing with them. So that's all I have. Thank you guys for partnering with me. Please continue to do so, but more so in prayer. Please pray for this ministry. God is hearing, he's answering, he's moving, he's transforming, and it's awesome.
Thank you. Say thanks to Julie.